no stars, no voice. It's incidental, but we're doing Judgment and Nuremberg. I did not see this movie when it came out, because it came out in 1961 and I was not even a blip on anybody's radar at this time. But it was on TV when I was about 14. It was on TV, which was a bit of a to-do, because Dutch TV, we don't do black and white stuff on the whole. And this was on prime time, and it's a 3-hour movie. They did the whole thing. And probably for Remembrance Day, for Remember the Dead Day, which is May 4th in the Netherlands, which is when they would put on war movies. And special showing of this. I was 14. I was prepped by my mother somewhat for historical context and stuff like that. And I really knew quite a bit of historical context, but specific historical context. And still, the moment I start with the real footage, I was out of there. I was gone. I went, yeah. And I was 24. I watched it again with the footage. I do believe that I heard that it was on, between that time, it was on German television at some point, in a German dub, and I would have been without the extra footage, because they're showing a lot of stuff you don't want to see. So be warned about that. So this film is rated at TV 14 or approved on IMDb. I would straight rate this one up as R. Do not watch this when you're unprepped, or this is an R-rated movie for these extra footages, and even for some of the contents of the story as well. So watch the whole thing again, then completely. This movie is based on a television play some years earlier, and it must have been like an hour play, because they had them on American television. And so the concept of this film was in that play, and it was so successful that they decided to do an entire movie of this. The premise is a trial for judges under the Nazi regime. But in 1961, it was only like 15 plus years after the war, and the actual German judges, some of them would be still around, and the victims or their families would still be around. So naming actual names, not okay. So what they did was very smartly. They made up a bunch of names and gave these people the backstories of actual people, both the defendants and the witnesses. So the events are real. The names of these people are not, as they are also represented by actors who are also not the same people. So it was a choice, and I think it was the right choice for 1961. Now, you would want if you did such a thing now, in 2025, you want the real names with to go with the stories. But it's 80 years later. You know? The fact that this exists is very remarkable as such. And I think even though this is a Hollywood movie, they didn't overstuff it in the normal Hollywood sense of including the Titanic and the Hindenburg, you know. They did make it. It's a 3-hour movie, and they go into each story, each witness quite extensively. So as a flavor of what it was like, I think this is really good, and this is why I wanted to include it in this set of reviews. Definitely a go-to movie to go and see. With the caveat, it's not the names are not the right names in 1961. It's full of Hollywood stars, which is, I think, made it easier to watch. but they're not sparing any punches. That's why I think they included that original footage, that they didn't want to spare any punches at all. I'm not the target audience for it, but you might be. I'm gonna watch the Dodenherdenking, Remembrance of the Dead, day after tomorrow. If you want to do that too, there may be some stuff of that on YouTube. There will be the ceremony at the Dam Square with the king and speeches and wreaths and all that. Also the Prime Minister will be there probably. At 8 o'clock precisely there will be 2 minutes of silence. Here's the corresponding time for where you are. If you want to do that, please do. Think about the victims of wars and of hate, of prosecution, of all kinds of hate. I'll be watching the ceremony at the Waalsdorpervlakte, which will be not much pomp and circumstance. And that is my opinion. I'm sticking to it.